This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
All right, we begin today, Monday, July 28th, as we often do, with bad news for the mainstream media. Bad news for the left, for the Democrats. Donald Trump just made a spectacular trade deal with the European Union, announced yesterday. He was taking a victory lap today at his golf resort in Scotland, Turnberry. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a spectacular scene. He hosted the Prime Minister of England at his place. He stood there, greeted Keir Starmer when he showed up with his wife, and then they held a press conference for an hour, and Trump totally commandeered it. Trump totally took over, and Keir Starmer sat there like he was a press aide or something, or some low-level cabinet member. And Trump, of course, celebrated the New Deal as well he should. Here it is in a nutshell, the New Deal, which we knew was coming. We said it a month ago, 2 months, 3 months ago on Liberation Day, when Trump announced they were going to tear up all the trade deals, which didn't favor the United States, didn't benefit the United States. It was a really bold and unique perspective from a president. He said he is going to put America first. He promised he would get deals done. Those deals would be better than the old deals. And I have the same question I always have when he makes a new deal. Why didn't another president, any other president, ever do this? Why did we just accept it as the norm that we would have trade deficits with everybody? Why did they ever look at this and say, we can do better? Well, that's what Trump did on Liberation Day, and that is what he is delivering. We are doing better. In this New Deal, there will be 0% tariffs on U.S. goods, including agriculture products. The EU will invest $600 billion in the U.S. economy and buy $750 billion in U.S. energy. I just saw Trump's former ambassador to the EU on CNN say you're going to see a flotilla of LNG ships heading from the U.S. ports to European ports very soon, and that all benefits America, which again is not good for the mainstream media. They hate this. The coverage of this is just hilarious. They can't help themselves. They can't ever just say, wow, that looks pretty good. That doesn't really have a downside for the United States. We'll get to the Boston Globe, which made me laugh out loud. As I always say, there's a reason they don't have comics, and they might still have comics. The New York Times has no funny pages, as we used to call them, because their front page is their funny page. And in the case of the Globe, they just will do whatever they can to make Trump look bad. We'll get to their take. I want to get to this. Here's a European influencer, a guy who's the president of EMI International. His hashtag is I am European. His home is Europe. He has 500,000 followers. His name is Guy Verhofstadt. Big deal in Europe. He tweeted last night, the EU-US deal is scandalous. It is a disaster with not one concession from the America side, badly negotiated. That's the European perspective. That's like a game is over and the other team said, we did nothing right. The other coach said, as Belichick likes to say, we got to play better, coach better. We did nothing well. That's the verdict. It is in. There is no good news for Europe, which I'm pretty sure means it's all good news for the U.S. I'm pretty sure everybody, taxpayers, businesses, politicians, media, could say that, could say, got to hand this one to Trump. He's the deal maker, and he made a spectacular deal. But no, get me that Axios headline or that Axios tweet. This is friggin' hilarious. This is an American mainstream media outlet, obviously, liberal, obviously, they do, as most mainstream media entities do. They wake up in the morning and say, how can we blame Trump? How can we criticize Trump? Here is their headline this morning, 7:12 a.m. In the Trump-dominated global economy, the U.S. gets plenty, but gives nothing in return. God, they, you know what that means? We win. That's good for America. That is good for the United States. That's good for us and bad for Europe, bad for the rest of the world. That's called winning. That's called delivering on promises. That's called making deals that benefit us. And they can't stand it. We don't give. We're not giving. We're selling. We're winning. And they hate it. This is just a remarkable moment. Axios, again, a left-wing outfit, but they can't just say, wow, Trump won this one. He still might be in the Epstein files and, he still has varicose veins, but God, he won this one, which he did. It gets better. It gets better. Let's get to the Globe now, because if you ever want just a good laugh, just watch the way the Globe covers anything and everything Donald Trump does. Here was their tweet yesterday, their big story, on the day Trump made the best trade deal in American history. That's what it's being called. They post this. They post this story with the headline, Trump criticized the idea of presidential vacations. His Scotland trip is built around golf. And they put this embarrassing photo of Trump kind of skanking a little chip out of the rough at his course at Turnberry. After he played around in golf, he made a deal which calls not only for Europe to buy $750 billion in U.S. energy, but this boxes out Russia. That's where they used to get their energy. This is bad news for Russia, which last I checked, the media was obsessed with Russia. Trump was a Putin puppet. Remember those days? How are they going to spin this to make Trump look bad? I guess they post a photo of him with really bad form, chipping out of the rough. That's the Boston Globe. I checked their homepage this morning. Obviously, I don't see the paper because nobody buys the paper, and I don't subscribe, but you can get to see their homepage. They have, I don't know, probably 75 stories. They don't cover this. They do not have a story about the best trade deal a president has ever made with the second biggest economy in the world, Europe. Between Europe and the U.S., that's 44% of the world's GDP. We now have a new deal. The market has opened up. It benefits American industries, American workers, American taxpayers, and the media can't stand it. Yes, I do get sometimes obsessed with the corruption. It's not just bias. This is just utter corruption. That these people sit there. I know. I can see them right now. You get the purple-haired lady. You get the little geek from Brown editing, and they're just seething. They know this is good for everybody in this country, and they hate it because they hate Trump more than they love their country, or they love their neighbors or their coworkers, because it's good for all of us. It's good for everybody, and they hate it. Trump, again, power move, hosting Keir Starmer, this left-wing loon who's destroying his country. Trump called him out on a number of things. Trump went off on the mayor of London, too, which was great. But he hosted Starmer, and then he took, of course, a nice victory lap with the media, and he was hit with everything. He just sits there and answers everything. He rambles. Sometimes he gets a little crazy, talks about windmills. That's the other focus. I watched the coverage right after the announcement, and the lead for CNN or MSNBC, I can't help it. I just love watching them cover Trump when Trump is winning. Their lead was Trump's rambling response about windmills. He hates windmills. Yes, he does. He thinks they're stupid. They are. They're ugly. They don't work. He must have spent 10 minutes just babbling about windmills. So what? That's what he does. Sometimes he gets sidetracked. Sometimes he doesn't stay focused. But look at what he does, not what he says. That's it. Look at what he does. This is the best example ever. I say this every day to my Trump-hating friends. Tell me what he does that upsets you. Not what he says, not what he tweets, not his style, not what he, you know, not that he golfs. Look what he does. Look what he did yesterday. Do we have Trump with Starmer this morning on the trade deal? They covered everything, but here he is on this great new deal.
Mr. Prime Minister, and you've done a fantastic job with regard to the trade deal. They wanted a trade deal here for years, many years, through many different terms of different people, and you got it done. So I want to congratulate you on that, and it's a great deal for both. It brings unity. We didn't need unity, but it brings us even closer together. I think it's good for both parties.
That's what he does. He tells you did a great job, Keir Starmer, as the people in Europe, the people in the EU are lamenting this deal because it's so one-sided. That's good. That is good. This is Trump at his best. You're wonderful, Starmer. Everyone, I love Europe. That is going to be good for everybody when he knows they gave everything. They got nothing. That is the definition of America first. That's why he is president, for this reason right here. Make a deal that is good for America. And everyone in America should be celebrating, but of course they're not, which is just, I can't tell you how much I enjoy this, just watching these absolutely broken people in the media, in the Democrat Party saying, well, this isn't good for Europe. Good. Why would you want anything to be good for Europe or good for China or good for Indonesia? He's doing what's good for America. And again, you ask, why do we have decades where these deals were bad for us and good for them? Why? Why did they have higher tariffs than we did? Why did we buy their cars and they didn't buy ours? Why? Can someone explain that to me? Why? What's the logic behind resisting this? Tariffs are a tool, as he said, as Howard Lutnick has said, as Scott Besson has said. It's a tool to negotiate a deal. And whatever deal, here's what I said on Liberation Deal Day. I said, whatever deal he makes will be better than the old deal. Simple. Trump is good at that. Simple, common sense. We're going to make a new deal, and it's going to be better than the old deal. And if you can't embrace that, if you can't celebrate that, then you are just broken. You're just hopeless. You're lost if you can't look at this and say, wow, that's a good idea. Let's keep going. And he's going to keep going. As he says, there are 195 countries. We're going to make a bunch of new deals, and every single one of them is going to be better than the old deals. Why would he tear up the old deal and make a worse deal? He wouldn't. No one would. He's making better deals, and they absolutely hate it, which is brilliant. Russia hates it. The media hates it. You're going to hear Democrats today, although, they sent Congress all went home for 5 weeks, which is incredible. Trump works nonstop. He's working when he's golfing. He's making deals when he's golfing on his own course at his own resort. And they're gone for 5 weeks, just taking a vacation. Not like we have important business to get to in D.C. The Congress, including the leaders, including Thune and Mike Johnson, are just a disgrace right now. Taking a break. We're taking a break. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to so much more on what Trump is getting done while Congress sits on the beach or works out. We'll get to Eric Swalwell, which is hilarious. We'll get more on the. By the way, look at the ratio. I want to get to that on the Globe tweet. Oh, I love this. I just love waking up to see how absolutely broken and hopeless the media is. Here it is, the ratio. They got 50 likes and 132 comments, each and every one saying you are a disgrace, because that's what they are. They are disgraced. They don't seem to care. Again, business isn't what matters to them. Journalism certainly doesn't matter. It's just hurting, stopping, wounding Trump. That's what it's all about. And we'll get to Trump on immigration, because that's the big fight right now. It is getting a little scary right now, I have to say. I don't know how to say this any other way, but there seems to be a Muslim problem right now. They're feeling emboldened. They're going to have the next mayor in New York City, the next mayor in Minneapolis, and these people are not interested in assimilation. They don't love this country. They are not dedicated to this country, which has taken them in, and not only taken them in, but allowed them to ascend to these powerful positions. And their priority is not America. It is kind of scary. We'll get to the latest in New York and Minneapolis and all over the Western world. And a really kind of ominous tweet from Dan Bongino, Deputy Director of the FBI. And I'm going to explain why I think Dan Bongino is one of the most important guys in the Trump coalition, and he sounds a little frustrated, a little, maybe even intimidated. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
If you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's incogni, incogni.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. A couple more. My favorite reactions to the new trade deal before we move on. Emmanuel Macron, I assume he and his wife, aren't happy. And you'd be right. He called it a submission. We submitted to Donald Trump. If Emmanuel Macron is not happy, you should be. As an American, you should be thrilled.
Well, there's one thing he knows, and that's being a submissive.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point, Ironhead. Being a submissive. I know they're suing. Macron's suing Candace Owen because she insists his wife is a man, and I don't think she is. I think she's a woman. She's an old woman, and she's a sexual deviant who groomed him when he was 14. He went to school, like grade school, with her daughter. She's 25 years older than he is, and when he steps out of line, she smacks him across the face like she's his mommy. But that's Macron. He's struggling right now. Trump is not. And he announced a ceasefire between Thailand and Cambodia. That's where we are right now. Trump is announcing ceasefires in wars that we don't even know are going on. He's just finding wars and stopping them and bringing it to the attention of the media. He brought that up today, said, yep, he says we're ending wars everywhere. We ended the skirmish between Thailand and Cambodia. I didn't really care about that, but he got it done. And he also lectured Starmer on the immigration problem. Obviously, they have in England right now, all across Europe, as you say. Open borders have destroyed their countries. It is a real problem, and it is sick what's going on. The leaders, these elitists, these globalists, have opened the borders, embraced unfettered immigration, and many Muslims are taking advantage of it. Right now, there are over 3,000 mosques in the UK. I just looked this up. There are Muslim mayors in London, Birmingham, Leeds, Blackburn, Sheffield, Oxford, Luton, Woodham, and Rochdale. They only have 4 million Muslims. in the UK, 6% of the population, but they are in all their city halls. They have become really powerful forces. And again, just like here, just like Zamdani or Feta, whatever his name is in Minneapolis, they're not there to adapt, to assimilate. They are there to take control, to conquer. And it's getting a little bit much. In Brooklyn yesterday, a group of Muslims blocked traffic on the highway. They stopped their cars and they got out of their cars and started screaming, "Globalize the Intifada." And if you're watching along, check this out. Not one of them is driving a car that's less than 100 grand. That looks like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. There's 3 high-end Beamers and a Land Rover. They blocked traffic to shout, and the Land Rover or the Range Rover is across the road, horizontally, blocking traffic and screaming, "Globalize the Intifada." In New York City, where they're about to elect a Muslim fanatic mayor. Here's all I'll say is they will not hold these people accountable. They will not go to jail. They're committing a crime and they won't even be arrested. Look at these guys. Rich punks who came here and just took advantage of us. And it's going to get worse. You think when Zamdani's in City Hall, this problem's not going to get worse? You think the Somali guy in Minneapolis is the last one? No, the mayor of South Portland, who's also Somalia and calls Somalia her country. Not here, where she got everything handed to her as a refugee. No, her country is Somalia, and it's happening everywhere. It is indeed a little frightening. Here's a scene back in Scotland. A Muslim madman on a flight, I believe, from England to Scotland, right where Trump was, on a flight, stands up and starts screaming, "Allahu Akbar," and "Death to America," "Death to Trump," in the middle of a flight. And I'll tell you what's frightening about this. Not just that you had a guy that said he had bombs. He said the bomb was going to go off. He talked about blowing the plane up in mid-flight. Watch this video if you're watching along and tell me what is disappointing, kind of shocking, in fact. Go ahead.
The flag! Going to bomb the flag! Dead to America! Dead to Trump! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Oh my God! You got to sit down. Don't move. What's your husband?
All right. If you're not watching, the guy, the crazy man, the madman, was standing up saying, "Allahu Akbar, death to America." One passenger got up and grabbed him and threw him down like a rag doll. The guy was not a very intimidating presence, but that is frightening. We said on 9/11, we will never forget. In fact, I remember talking about this, saying the next time someone stands up and screams "Allahu Akbar" or tries to storm the cockpit, he's yelling toward the cockpit, I believe. Oh no, that's in the back of the plane. What's he yelling at the flight attendants? He's yelling about a bomb on the plane, and one guy got up and did something about it. Tackled him, brought him to the ground. You could see in that video 3 or 4 other guys, including that fat slob in the seat there. He never gets out of his seat. We were supposed to be on guard, vigilant after 9/11. And if it were to happen again, people were going to do what the heroes of United 93 did, get up and stop the threat. Now, they might have thought he had a suicide vest or something. But I mean, any bomb is a suicide bomb on a plane. And you're sitting in your seat, you don't even unbuckle your belt and get up and do something about it. We have forgotten. We have forgotten 9/11. We now have Muslim fanatics blocking traffic in their Lamborghinis in Brooklyn, New York. We have a Muslim fanatic who went home for the weekend, went home. That would be home to Uganda for his wedding, an elaborate celebration. You know, that communist who thinks there's real economic inequities in this country, went home to this lavish wedding, which included armed guards. The anti-gun guy had a wedding where he had armed guards to protect him in Uganda. He's going to come back this week and continue campaigning, and all the cat ladies in the Upper East Side will be there to support him. They're going to elect a Muslim fanatic in New York, and what you just saw on the roadway, on the highway, is going to get worse. It's going to happen over and over again. We are not vigilant. We didn't remember. We are surrendering at this point, and it is pretty scary what we're talking about. When nobody, I mean, why wouldn't you even say, what do I got to lose? He wasn't really that scary. You weren't going to get hurt unless he blew a plane up. He wasn't going to beat you up. And they just sit there and listen to himself talk about blowing the plane up. And it took one guy just to throw him to the ground, which is good. Good for him. That guy's got some balls. That guy remembers. The rest of them just sat there and did nothing. Speaking of doing nothing, we have to get to this Cincinnati story because you probably haven't heard about it unless you're like me and you're online and you're following the right accounts on X. You may not have heard about this. This is the most disturbing story of the weekend, and we will all understand why it's getting zero coverage nationally. A white couple in Cincinnati, after leaving the jazz festival in downtown, got pummeled by a mob of, 12, 15 black individuals, men and women. They just beat them up, knocked a woman unconscious when she tried to help her husband, knocked another guy out, and laughed and just had a great time. And it goes without saying, if you were to reverse the races in this scenario, it would be the biggest story in the country today. It would be an obsession, that the biggest media obsession since the Russia hoax. It would be wall-to-wall, nonstop coverage. It would be, Democrats would be celebrating, saying this is an example of white supremacy, the threat that white people pose to black people. But that's not how it played out. This is black people beating the crap out of white people. It is vicious, it is barbaric, and it is being ignored, completely ignored. I Googled it this morning. There are virtually zero mainstream media outlets touching this. It's all, small-time right-wing accounts. There's a good account of it on the Post-Millennial. There's, Reddit and Facebook posts, but nothing from the mainstream media. The local stations in Cincinnati were forced to cover it, obviously, when the video went viral. And of course, the perpetrators claimed there were racially charged words exchanged, which I guess justifies beating the hell, knocking a middle-aged white woman unconscious because she tried to help her husband up. It's sick, but here's a local report. This is the best you're going to do because you won't see a word of this on CNN. Go ahead.
Developing tonight, Cincinnati police say they are investigating a video circulating on social media that appears to show a violent fight. It happened last night at Elm and 4th Streets downtown. I spoke to a witness who wants to remain anonymous, but says she saw the situation from start to finish. This is one video circulating online right now that shows a violent fight downtown. Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa Thigi calling the behavior displayed, quote, nothing short of cruel and absolutely unacceptable. City Council member Mark Jeffries says he's also concerned about what the videos show.
And I think this is incredibly serious and just incredibly disturbing.
A witness says the situation started several minutes before any of the videos circulating online show, with one man who appeared to be intoxicated. The man walked away, the witness says, but returned about 15 minutes later with a group of people who were overheard making racial comments. This video provided to Fox 19, the witness says, shows some people in the group trying to de-escalate the situation before the fight broke out. The witness says someone's vehicle was kicked too, and things escalated, the witness says, and punches were eventually thrown. This video shows that, where you can see the man in the white shirt hitting the man in the red.
This is not what Cincinnati is about. We are an incredibly welcoming city, and we certainly never want to give the impression that this type of activity is condoned in any way, because it's not.
Right now, Cincinnati police say they are working to identify, quote, everyone involved in causing harm. The video shows at least 2 people with visible injuries. CPD says the incident was in no way connected to Cincinnati Music Festival. CPD also says it was a sudden dispute between people following a verbal altercation. So again, Cincinnati police say that they are still investigating this to determine who was involved and if any charges will be filed. They're also asking anyone who might have witnessed it or has any information to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 513-352-3040.
And the good news is Harmeet Dillon said she's going to be looking into this. She's the civil rights, the attorney general in charge of civil rights. Obviously, it was racial. Obviously, if the races were reversed, it would be on everyone's mind. But they will not, even though it has video of a guy knocking a woman out and another guy out, and the victims appeared to be just overwhelmed. The video we just showed you, there was a few guys just taking a shot at that one white guy in the middle of the mob, and he ends up bloodied and beaten on the sidewalk. And you get nothing. Get nothing from the media. They don't want to talk about it. They want to hear about it. It would be, Joe Scarborough would have spent 4 hours on this morning. Literally, he would have spent his entire show. It would have been a good distraction for Joe from all the good Trump news, but he would have been obsessed with this, and yet nothing. I'm telling you, I tried to find a story, a good story. This is from the Post Millennial. They write multiple videos of a fight, and I don't even know you call it a fight. It's a beating, have been circulating on social media, bringing up safety concerns for a city that's made a recent push to reduce crime. That's the Cincinnati Enquirer, which was forced to cover it. Oh my God, Post Millennial has the woman just laid out. I sent you another video of a guy trying to step in and help, and he just gets cold cocked and knocked unconscious. And I always wonder this. On January 6th, they used all kinds of technology, facial recognition and geofencing, and they caught everybody. Every grandma who walked through the Capitol with a little flag was prosecuted. Are you telling me we can't find everybody who did that? Here he is, this guy just standing there looking around like, hey, come on, cool it, guys. Boom, knocked cold. And that's in the middle of the street. Guy is absolutely flattened. And watch this. A woman comes in and kicks him. Is this the one? Someone comes in and just takes another shot at him. Just barbaric, sick. And the worst part, they're laughing on the video. They're laughing and having a great time. The police chief came out and said the thing that really bothered him was that nobody called 9/11 and nobody tried to stop these beatings. Nobody called 9/11 because they were having a blast. Oh man, this is sick. Sick. Oh, racially charged language. Do you really think the white guy was using racially charged language in a mob of violent? Look at her. She just kicks him.
Well, that part's always conveniently not covered on camera.
Yeah, you didn't see that in the local report, did you? She comes up and just kicks him. He's like trying to cover up. There are more women involved than men in this beating. I mean, the men do the most damage. Here he is just trying to protect himself. Oh, man. It takes a special kind of sick to kick a man down in the middle of the street, and he's like begging for, Jesus. You think we might have seen that once or twice on NBC. You think maybe Stephanopoulos might have covered it yesterday on ABC if the races were reversed? I'm going to guess yeah. But no, nothing to see here. We're moving on. Look at, they all have their cameras out. They're all having a blast. Just a good old time. Beating the hell out of this middle-aged couple in the middle of the road. It's pretty damn disturbing, I have to say. And none of them called the cops, and none of them tried to protect the guy or the woman. The woman is flat out on her back bleeding. And they're just like, this is a fun night out. Had a good old time. I got so much more to get to here. We're going to get to more on Trump this morning, but Democrats have a problem. God knows they have lots of problems. Oh my God. Okay, enough. There she is. She does not look alive. I don't think, I mean, I think she was hospitalized, but that looks rough. Just flat out unconscious.
I lucky no one died, because you get punched like that on cement. All that's happening is hitting the ground.
You could see her. She hits her head on the pavement and she's out. She has got to be in some real pain today. But again, you got to look hard if you want an update on that story. But you don't have to look hard to find out that the Democrats are in trouble right now with the public, with the voters. They have an issue. Their big issue is people just think they're not manly. They're not macho. They're not connecting with young men, and they're not. They have abandoned young men. They've embraced, transgenderism and every crazy woke theory these days, and men are abandoning the party. And even when they spend the media spends all their time attacking Trump and mocking Trump, Democrats aren't winning them over. Even people who aren't happy with Trump, they're not going to the Democrat Party. Little Harry Enton of CNN explains it pretty well. They are underwater like never before. Here is Harry on CNN.
Dems, and let's look at their net favorable ratings. Whoa, woof. I mean, my God, we mentioned CNN. We had that poll come out a little while ago on their net favorable rating. They were 26 points underwater. You think that's low enough? How about we go even lower? We'll go to this side of the screen. I'm going to walk over here. We go to the Wall Street Journal. Minus 30 points underwater. Their lowest on record. These polls have records going all the way back since the early 1990s. And when it comes to the Democratic Party's net favorable rating in both the Wall Street Journal poll and the CNN poll, the Democratic Party is breaking records in the way, Jessica Dean, you don't want to break records.
Yeah.
Harry. I don't know how much longer he's going to last at CNN, but maybe he'll end up at Newsmax or Fox, because they must hate Harry there when he comes up with when he reports things like that. The record low unfavorability rating, 30 points underwater. And you know what they're doing about it? They're doubling down. Their message is terrible, and their messengers are even worse. Tomorrow, you'll hear from Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Zoran Mandami, and of course, Eric Swalwell. Oh God, I hope no one tells Eric Swalwell how silly he looks when he posts these videos. We played it before of him, eating tacos or walking through the Capitol swearing, loves to swear. The latest from Swalwell could be the cringiest yet. He posted over the weekend. He's upset, as well he should be, that Congress is in recess. He probably wants to be in D.C. because he gets so much attention and the media loves him. He's on TV every day. But the videos he posts, his staff, I assume, videos him and posts it. And no one tells him how silly he looks. Here's his latest, where he is literally bench pressing. Not a lot. He's bench pressing 135, which I would say your average ninth grader on a high school football team could probably do this 10 times. Maybe your average sixth grader these days, with so many kids working out. But Swalwell, a 44-year-old man, is proud to show his followers, proud to show the country that he can bench 135. Watch this.
I should be working right now. I should be at the Capitol. I should be in a suit. Instead, Republicans sent us home because they would rather stand up for Donald Trump than release the Epstein files and stand up for victims. We could be at Washington, D.C., lowering your healthcare costs, lowering your grocery costs, and restoring your rights. I should be working right now. Instead, I'm pumping iron at the gym.
I don't think that qualifies as pumping iron. I mean, my wife could do that. What do you do it like 5 times? 135?
He wasn't struggling. I will give him that.
But he had someone, I don't know how you do that, like on a ladder, because their video is above him and he's talking as he's benching. But you know what? You can get those plates that are light, that look like 45s, but they're really like 20, those light plastic ones. I mean, you could do something. You could edit the video, put a couple of 45s on each side and edit the video, have him take a break. But no, he should be working. Instead, he's pumping iron. Every time I hear from Swalwell, I say, how is he a congressman? He's such an embarrassment. No self-awareness. Then I remember he's from California, and they have the worst representatives. I guess I'll give him a tie with Massachusetts for the worst representatives in the United States. And here's what else is going to happen, by the way. They're going to get their wish, and they're going to regret it. I think we know Trump is in the Epstein files, but we also know Trump. There was a lawyer over the weekend who represented 70 victims who said Trump was the only one willing to help expose this. He was in the files because he ran in the same circles as Epstein, but he kicked him out of his club. I haven't heard anyone refute that. He kicked him out of his club for hitting on some young girl at the club, some member's daughter. He didn't go to the island. He didn't go to New Mexico. He didn't go to fly on the plane, at least not to the island. And Bill Clinton did, and other Democrats did. So if we do indeed get these grand jury documents, if we do indeed find out the truth, it might not be great for Trump, but it's going to be worse for Democrats. It's certainly going to be bad for Bill Clinton. Trump was asked about it, of course. He gets asked about it every day because Democrats are hoping, praying that they can smear him with Epstein while he's out there making historic trade deals. Here he is talking today, mentioning which Democrats should be a little nervous about the release of all the files. Go ahead.
That was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
He can't help it. He doesn't want to talk about Epstein, but they keep asking, and he can't help himself. And I think he's right. I mean, I think at this point, everybody knows that Trump's mentioned in the files that Trump was in Palm Beach. At the same time, they were both single billionaires at the time he allegedly sent the birthday message to Epstein. So we're not going to be shocked. But if they release more files, more information, if the victims do indeed get their day, here's the latest. New York Post says Ghislaine Maxwell gave information on 100 people who were involved with Epstein to Todd Blanche of the DOJ last week, the end of last week, in that meeting in Tallahassee. 100 people. I think there may be a few well-connected Democrats on that list. Kevin Spacey came out and essentially exonerated Trump, said he heard nothing about Trump being involved in any of the sex trafficking. I don't know if that's a reliable source or not, but it's going to get spicy, and I have a feeling Democrats are going to regret it. And there's a lot more coming out. John Ratcliffe, head of the CIA, yesterday morning said that they're going to release an annex to the Durham report that has never seen the light of day. That's not going to be good for that cabal that Obama cabal, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Clinton, Biden, they're promising more information. And Ratcliffe said, I watched this, he said, the reason they raided Mar-a-Lago was to get the documents, the documents of the intelligence assessment that was changed by Obama. Of course, Democrats are doubling down. I watched Jonathan Karl with Stephen A. Smith saying absolutely no evidence. Bizarre accusation, no evidence. I'm saying, what? Tulsi Gabbard gave you evidence. That's what she did. It was quite clear in black and white. But Democrats will never, ever give up on their hero, Barack Obama. And if you were wondering if we may be learning, I know we ask this every day, when are the arrests? When are they going to start prosecuting people? Dan Bongino, assistant or deputy director of the FBI, had a very ominous tweet this morning, which is getting a lot of attention. I will just read it. You can make of it what you will. As somebody pointed out this morning, they said they got chills reading this. I didn't get chills, but man, I got questions. Here's Bongino this morning. He says, during my tenure here as deputy director of the FBI, I've repeatedly relayed to you the things that are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. The director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us. But what I have learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into these matters has shocked me to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I will never be the same after learning what I learned. We're going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book. We're going to get the answers we all deserve. As with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at truth. Not my truth or your truth, but the truth. God bless America. Respectfully, Dan. He says, I will never be the same. This guy was a cop in New York City. This guy was with the Secret Service. This guy has written books about Russia, the Russia hoax, and other scandals. And he always had his eyes wide open. And he's no rube. And he will never be the same after what he learned. Ah, man, that is intriguing, to say the least. We'll be waiting. And I guess he's asking for time. And I guess we have no choice but to give him time. But are we all going to learn what shocked him to his core? You know why Bongino's so important? Because he's beloved by the MAGA base. The MAGA people loved his podcast, his radio show. They loved his style. You know, he held nothing back. He was a straight shooter. He brought it every day. And he was shocked at what he has learned in the last 6 months. And he's promising transparency and justice. So we have no choice but to give him more time. And I just can't even comprehend. It must involve Barack Obama. It must, because I'd never be shocked at anything Comey or Brennan did. Those guys are absolute scum. But I'm teased. Consider me officially intrigued by Dan Bongino's latest post. And we will be waiting for more, Dan. And we appreciate your service. And if he were to quit at something, if somehow he was forced out of the FBI, forced back into the podcast realm, his podcast would be huge, but it would be really bad for Trump and the MAGA movement, because this guy, him being on the inside, was one of the great developments, one of the great moves, decisions Trump made in his first couple of months, because people trust him. They listen to him, and they felt like, oh, good, finally. The FBI, they like Kash Patel, but he's an insider. I mean, he's done some great work. Bongino came from the outside, and he seemed like a guy who would never participate in a cover-up, who would never do the kind of duplicitous, sleazy things that that Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Chris Wray have done. This was a sea change, and we expected results, and hopefully we will get them. And I will be looking forward to seeing what shocked Dan Bongino to the core, but we'll have to wait another day. That will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard